But can we tell them that they have to make a good faith effort to avoid all conflicts? I think it's a great idea. And to me, that only makes sense.
Yeah, especially with the fiscal implications of governing council approving our budget. I mean, there's potential there. And so really, when you think of it from a fiscal lens, this is just covers all bases and avoids future problems.
I also think it's really, really equitable to ensure that there is, decisions made for all and not just individuals.
Well, where I could see it happening is, let's say that we had an individual on the governing council who ended up applying for a position at SSD. I don't think they could be on the governing council at the same time when they apply. I think they would have to resign first.
And that's what the regulation gets into. But really, the broader piece of it is what I think is just as important is it creates a valve for the governing council members to recuse themselves from decisions where they do have a conflict of interest.
Well, and I like it because it covers all conflict of interest, right? Mm-hmm. It's pretty thorough for those pieces.
Pretty thorough.
Right, no matter what. Oh, go ahead, sir.
No, go right ahead. I was just going to say that I agree with it 100%. I just wanted to make sure that we had the authority to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Curtis, welcome.
Hey, I'm sorry I'm late. I got a late start today, so I'm sorry.
No worries. So any changes on BBFA, or were just general comments on it?
I didn't have anything that I needed. I just want to make sure that we have the authority to do it. I thought it was a great idea. Yep.
Darkest Africa without chosen by creatures dancing across the screen with jazz hands and
nor did I have any changes that I wanted on or that I would have recommended on the reg. Once we had the authority to do it, I thought this was great.
Perfect.
Okay, I'm sorry I'm late, but this is a document that deals with conflict of interest of contracted employees.
No, this is the one for the changes were made that would include the governing council for conflicts of interest.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So there were no changes to the conflict of interest categories. The only pieces were the areas that would need to also apply to the governing council were added in. So where it said Board of Education, now it says board and governing council members. That's really the only changes you're going to see throughout the document. There's a couple spots where we made pronouns go from gender specific to gender neutral.
That was fine.
Okay. So, Amy, would you mind just forwarding me a copy of that? Not that if we've already voted for it, it's all right, but I just like to see it. I'm sorry that I was late in getting that.
Sure. I'll email them both to you.
Yeah, email it to me and I'll just look at it just so that I can look through it myself more closely.
I did have a question. Is directors a male term? Why did we go to members? I was just curious.
So because the governing council, they're not called directors, they're called members. Okay. And so you could refer to board of directors, but calling board members, it felt like made more sense than saying board members.
No problem. I'm not disagreeing. I just wanted to know why.
Yeah. Trying to be as efficient as possible with the vocabulary.
All right. Can we go to CJ? Is that the next one?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Or CF. Yes, CJ.
I had some questions on this one, mainly because I was confused.
Okay.
And just explain it to me. If I thought most of the people that were administrative interns were usually staff members. Is that correct?
Traditionally, yes.
I know they can be. It may not be, but it usually is.
Traditionally, yes, but there are times when they're not, especially like on the related services side.
Yeah. If they were employed before by us, is there a guarantee that they can go back to their other job? I thought so.
Yeah, so they could go back to their other job. The reason why we added that paragraph at the bottom was just so that they didn't think that then they were automatically guaranteed an administrative position at the end of that experience.
Okay.
Which is key because, you know, you in an equitable lens, you want to make sure that, you know, the candidates who are applying or anyone who's applying, right, that there's a fair chance for equal opportunity or equal opportunity so that each person has a chance to be able to acquire that position. And so you just want individuals knowing coming into it that this is not a guaranteed employment.
Okay, well then, that was I thought do we need student teaching in this?
No, we don't.
That's what confused me, because if an individual participating in the intern program are not guaranteed employment at the conclusion of the internship experience, if we got rid of student teaching, and I thought that's the part that confused me on this.
Yeah, we can remove that.
And if we got rid of the student teaching, could we say at the conclusion, they are not guaranteed administrative employment at the conclusion of their internship experience?
Mm-hmm.
Because you could still go back to your other job, I thought.
Yeah, so we'll say administrative employment. Just because there have been people in the past that think, well, I did an administrative intern in XYZ partner district, and now you're supposed to give me a job in that partner district, and that's not how this works.
I agree. It's just that if we get rid of the student teaching part, because and then just say at the conclusion of their administrative internship experience, they're not in guaranteed employment as an administrator at the conclusion of their administrative internship experience.
Yeah,
Great.
I agree with that. It's just do the administrative internship experience and cross out student teaching.
Is that okay with everybody then?
Yes.
Yes, I got it.
And our next one up is the tree one.
Future Farmers of America. No, FFA.
I have nothing against trees or shrubs. But do we still have room for that?
We don't. So that's why it was removed, was because we had issues, especially in the schools that have had to do construction where they've had to expand into green spaces to add building, where then memorial trees and shrubs had to be removed. And so that caused a lot of stress and anxiety for those families that had purchased those, that then they weren't able to be replanted elsewhere. And so by removing that as an option, we just avoid that issue. You can move a bench. It's a lot harder to move a tree.
I agree with this 100%, and I like trees, but I don't see how you can do this.
Yes, we went through that in Southview. If you remember several years
Yes.
ago, we had the construction. So it's much easier. We have a beautiful, we partner with a company that does the stepping stones.
Yeah.
Or different landscaping opportunities that can easily be picked up and moved.
Yeah, but didn't we have to tell parents or other individuals that would, and then we had a lot of hassle over that?
But it like Kevin said, it created a stress and anxiety for families. So yeah.
We're killing your tree. No, I don't. It's like killing the person again. No, I think this is a great idea. Anybody else have any comments on this one?
I don't.
This one, when we never really did much except clean it up.
Correct.
I had no comments on this one.
Correct. There were really minor modifications just as it relates to grammar and then clarity and readability, and then also the superintendent designee. That's really it.
Okay.
Then let's go with that one. Same thing on this one, wasn't it?
Extremely minor, just grammatical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't see any need to do much on that. And this one we just got rid of because we don't use the term.
Wendy, you want to talk about your history lesson on this one?
Yes, no one was quite aware of what a career ladder was. We have promotional programs. We have several things that help support paraprofessionals, teachers, administrators, several professional avenues, but nothing when it came to career ladder. However, that is still something that is funded. We will
It's
monitor.
not funded, it's in statute, but it's not
In
funded.
statute, I'm sorry. It hasn't been funded. Thank you, Kevin. It hasn't been funded for a while. So we will monitor and watch it. If it is something that is funded again and we need to add it back through our policy, we most definitely will.
I'm always glad to see one go. We always seem to add, but we never get rid of.
We'll have a parade for this one, so everybody knows that we do get rid of policy.
Good. Well, we should hold this one out so people realize.
I'll carry it around the office for you, Dr. Cuddy.
See, we got rid of something. Yeah.
Yeah. Feel free to make it an action item.
Education, we never get rid of anything. It just keeps going on, you know.
So we did have changes. This is based off August 28th of 2021. They passed new verbiage and language for the policy that is known as seclusion, isolation, and restraint. We refer to it as behavior incidents, behavior interventions. So based on what MSBA, based on the updates in the statute, based in the updates, we luckily they used a lot of our policy and wording in our policy. So there is minimal changes, but there are some changes.
I clearly don't like the term isolation. I'm glad we got rid of that.
Yes, and it was very confusing. Isolation seemed to be confusing across the state and also with our district. Seclusion is the one that we now use. So of course the policy had minor, the regulation, we updated, removed the 15 principles from the U.S. Department of Education, mimicked what MSBA was suggested, of course, to add from the statute, the language that the statute gave us, removed and cleaned up sensory supports, added in definitions of functional assessment and behavior intervention plans.
I think we did a good job with the things here. The only thing that I hope that we can make sure that every staff member sees this, and just on the grounds that when all of a sudden we start talking about discipline or termination, it seems that many of them revolve around restraints, seclusions, what you can do and not do.
Our regulation is very clear about that. We also add in this training when we do our CPI training for all of our staff that get it, and they really focus in with the support teams and make sure that they understand this policy. And I've already talked to Mitch Friedhoff, who is our person that trains the district in CPI, to make sure he's able to highlight. Both myself and Jen Frisbee and Mitch all met, so we understand what that training would look like, highlighting the changes.
Do you remember where it was at, wasn't it Northview, that we ended up having all the people come to the board meeting that one time?
Yes, sir.
Because of the crisis team. That's why I really would want to make sure everybody sees this one.
Yes, we will be very clear of the changes and how this policy supports the safety of our students and staff.
Fantastic. And we'll make sure that everybody on the crisis team sees this.
Yes, sir.
Because, and again, that was just a couple of years ago, that was a mess. I didn't see anything wrong with this. That's why I wanted to get on that one where it was just administrative, since we addressed it in this.
Mhm.
And then this deals with the student teaching part.
And one of the key additions there too was in that second to last paragraph, just outlining that the supervising teacher is going to be communicating with that college program, where that was a little bit of a gray area where it was, well, can I communicate? Should I communicate? What do I share? What do I not? We just wanted to have it codified in policy that the expectation is if you're a supervising teacher for someone who's doing student teaching, you absolutely should be in communication with that program.
I
as
agree.
needed.
That should be just signed releases aren't needed for that, are they? Or are they? I don't see why you would, but
No.
Seems like you have signed releases for everything now.
Yeah, this reminds me of the same situation that my daughter went through when she was down at Missouri State. Upon graduation and doing her master's tenure, then she became a teacher and lecturer for the courses that she now was mastering in. And so there was connection quite naturally on the college level in that situation with the department person over that particular subject matter with her. And so, but yeah, this kind of reminds me of what that tends to be.
Mhm.
Okay. This was easy. This is a scary one that this easy.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. Well, everybody, please be safe out there. It's still slick.
Yeah.
I'm still learning that I'm learning to walk like a duck again. So. All righty. Everybody have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Toodles.